Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back. Well, the Phoenix Suns are the first team to be eliminated from the NBA playoffs. On paper, this team was supposed to be a playoff contender, as constructed. Turns out they're one of the biggest failures in NBA history. This may be the most disappointing super team, if that's what you want to call it, of all time. There's no other way around it. You couldn't win one game? You mean to tell me you couldn't win at least one game in the series? Going all in does not guarantee NBA championships. We've seen this before. This is what you get when you mortgage away your entire future. It results in a first-round sweep. You can't tell me with a straight face that the Suns aren't in a terrible state right now. They're in a situation where they really can't do anything with this current roster because Phoenix has zero control over their first round picks from 2025 to 2030, which puts them in a tough spot. Bradley Beal has a no trade clause, so you're stuck with him because he refused to waive his no trade clause when Phoenix traded for him. Bill, who is owed $160 million over the next 3 years, has little trade value remaining. You can't find any real way out of it unless the Suns do decide to make Kevin Durant and Devin Booker available this offseason to get value in return. It will get worse before it gets better. I can only imagine how bad things will get from here on out. I don't understand why people are acting like the Phoenix Suns were this super team when they really were not a super team. Bradley Beal is overrated. It's just an overrated team, and too much expectations from the overrated team usually brings disappointment. Frank Vogel might not have much time left in Phoenix because now there is so much uncertainty about his future and his job security. So what happens now? Where do you go from here? All I can say right now is they now face a tough dilemma on how to break up this core they have now. This is a tough one. Here's the really crazy thing. The Phoenix Suns have $150 million committed to Durant, Booker, and Beal next season. I think I read somewhere that's more than 15 teams have committed across the entire roster, their entire roster. And the Suns' all-in investment on this roster, at least for now, is turning out to be an all-time absolute bust. Their choice to empty their assets, deplete their depth, and invest in a big three was supposed to lead to championship contention. Instead, it resulted in a first-round exit, and it resulted in a sweep. And to put it bluntly, we witnessed the epic failure that stunned fans and experts alike because they didn't win one single game, not one game. Their season ends in an epic failure. Their players are massively overrated. Nobody plays defense. You don't have a bench because you gutted the entire bench and didn't take any of that into consideration in your attempt to assemble a bootleg version of the Avengers that has only come back to bite you in the ass. This is very disappointing for sure. They had issues with turnovers, ball stagnation, defensive lapses. There were often times they played too slow and periods of cold shooting. Add the fact that they were undersized and stood no chance against the overmatched Minnesota Timberwolves. So much went wrong in so little time. for this team. And because of how they've mortgaged their future and because of the new collective bargaining agreement, rules, Phoenix is limited on what it can do to alter its roster. It's going to be rather difficult to address this season's shortcomings. That's the reality of it. The acquisition of Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal to build a star trio with Devin Booker suddenly leaves this team searching for answers as they fall into a perpetual state of obscurity. Considering all this, and that Kevin Durant is squarely in the middle of this downfall, a lot of the blame is being placed on him because now the knock on him is that he can't win without help. The narrative is that he has to be carried by a superstar in order to have any success and win championships. And the last time I checked, this was a guard-driven league. Well, the Suns' lack of true starting point guard was also a big issue. There was nobody on this roster who can take over in the fourth quarter and close games out. And the Phoenix Suns, all season long, we knew this about them. They were the worst fourth quarter team. And as we all know, offense wins games, defense wins championships. I can't name one guy who played defense on this current roster. I can't name one guy who defended the perimeter or shut down the paint consistently. The idea of bringing Frank Vogel on board was simply because the Suns saw a coach with championship pedigree and a track record of massaging egos of multiple stars. They aimed for a coach with a title on his resume and went with Vogel when Nick Nurse and Mike Budenholzer were hot coaching candidates at the time that the Suns could have easily taken a look at. I think Vogel should come back next season. I will say that. I'll be nice enough to say that. It's absurd to fire a coach after one season. You got to at least give him multiple seasons. Vogel has to figure out how to connect with his staff and the players. And the Suns have to do a better job building a team that knows how to win. That's hard when you have no access to mid-level exception, when you're unable to restructure the franchise and won't be able to aggregate in trades, and when you can't take back more salary than it sends out in a trade. They only have 2 tradable first-round picks. This is what mortgaging your future for aging superstars look like. It'll be hard, but the Suns need to be creative if they hope to right the ship and deliver a championship to the city. I think you trade KD because you need assets, obviously. Get a couple of solid players in return and some first-round picks maybe, and build that way. This current roster is not good enough, and you have no way of getting better. Thanks for watching, everyone. Really appreciate the love and support. Don't forget to do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button. We'll talk soon. Peace.